Mike, I know that if I have a problem of any sort at work, I should call the union right away. But could you tell me more about performance problems?
Yes. These sorts of problems tend to fall into two main types. Not doing something well enough or not doing enough of something. But it's important to take any criticism of your performance seriously, whether you agree with the criticism or not, because eventually it could lead to you being sacked.
Right, that's pretty clear. But what practical steps should I take?
The first thing is to write down what was said, who said it, and when it was said as soon as possible afterwards, when you will remember things clearly. Then you have a record, which could be important later on. After that, you should call us.
What will the next step be?
One of our advisors will ask you some basic questions about the situation to decide whether we need to represent you immediately. We may send you a detailed questionnaire to complete.
What sort of information will you need?
The first important thing will be for us to understand the nature of the criticism made of you and whether you think that was fair. Once we've discussed that, we'll need to know more about the circumstances in which the criticism was made and your working environment.
How can my working environment be relevant?
The sort of things we'll be looking to establish is whether your employer is following best practice in managing and training staff, whether there is any discrimination taking place, and whether you have been teed up for dismissal so your employer can reduce staff without paying redundancy or severance payments.
How widespread are these practices?
Most larger companies do a pretty good job of managing staff, but it's rare for performance problems to be one-sided. Bad communication may be part of the problem, but lack of training and clarity on what the organisation wants may also be factors.
Suppose my employer sets me objectives and I fail to achieve them, such as sales targets. Can they then just sack me?
No, they can't. For a start, employers have to follow a set of rules that requires them to behave reasonably. If they don't, they run the risk of being criticised in the employment tribunal and being forced to compensate you. After all, your objective may have been completely unrealistic.
You mentioned the employment tribunal. How does that work?
Well, we get most cases sorted out long before that point is reached. But if you're sacked and you have a case that we think has reasonable chances of success, we will prepare and manage your case and cover your legal representation.
Thank you, Mike.